Today our story begins with a guy who is furiously typing something on his keyboard. Judging by his reaction, he doesn't understand at all what the hell is happening on his screen and considers it some kind of madness. He believed that this simply could not happen. The boy decided to invest in shares of some companies, but even there was no profit. Of the entire budget he invested, only half is left and now his hands are even shaking. And if suddenly this idiot spends all his money and still can't earn money, he'll definitely go crazy. It's immediately obvious that he hasn't watched any lessons on how to do this. It turns out that our boy promised some girl that soon they would be able to get out of this simple apartment and buy an apartment overlooking the beautiful Han River. But his investments in securities did not pay off at all, and all the purchased shares simply went bankrupt. Pyong Tenji is exactly the name of the main character, a damn irresponsible loser, unemployed, and also a good-for-nothing idiot. That's what he called himself. Now he's also mentally ill. Now his life is definitely over. Suddenly, a beautiful blonde lady appears and urgently calls the guy to her. Of course he was scared. The girl's name is Pak Ara. They were close in high school and everyone considered her the most beautiful and popular lady in school. Now she wants to kill the main character. She divorced her scumbag husband and now lives alone and works in a karaoke pub. The boy asked her to calm down a little, and although she listened to what he was saying, she already considered him simply abnormal. It turns out that this idiot borrowed 10 million won from her, and in the end simply squandered everything on the shares, because she even sold him drinks at the expense of the establishment, if only he would invest that money wisely. The main character, of course, began to panic, and he thought that it would be better for the girl to quickly return home, especially since it was already late. Of course, until she takes her money from him, Ara is not going to leave anywhere. In Tenji's opinion, real friends don't do that. What the hell did the main character even come up with there? Does she really look like a pathetic girl in a divorce? Of course, the guy never meant this, but in such cases, she has a logical question. Why the hell does he constantly ignore her? Because he promised that soon she would be able to raise a lot of money on her shares. Of course, absolutely all the conditions were created for him. The girl even played cards with him, and he just lost everything just like that. Of course, the main character begins to deny everything, and says that she was the first to want to play cards with him, but in her opinion, she has never done such a thing in her life. In short, until the main character gives her her money, she will be in his apartment, but in his opinion this was real madness. He is simply in tears and in a new panic. He begins to make promises that he will definitely be able to do everything as it should. It didn't matter to her at all, since she swears that she should quickly bring her money here and for now she will sleep. Since the situation was so cool, he makes a new promise that he will soon receive his additional 10 million won. But it seems that she does not believe him. He says all this to once again play cards with her. She somehow didn't really understand what direction their conversation was starting to go, but the boy just needed to do one important thing, and then everything would be cool. He believed that playing cards always helped him. Let the girl play cards with him, and then the money would immediately come to him, but she did not want to play poker. The main character was simply trying to twist the situation so that he would once again make a contribution to his business, and then he would definitely be able to make money. But only this time he was called a damn moron who has no right to say such things, and it would be better for him to leave quickly because I have absolutely no mood to deal with him right now. But it seems that the boy is even more tired of this situation. If he is not going to play poker with him, then the game will take place anyway. Of course, he's a damn idiot who doesn't listen at all to what the lady says, and she asked him not to play cards when she wasn't in the mood to play. If suddenly the main character really thinks that she is stupid enough to invest money in his business again, then he is very mistaken. Damn it, our boy doesn't even think about stopping the game. On the contrary, he starts putting together combinations that will definitely crush it. She once again told this bastard to stop playing cards no matter how she is not going to invest money, but the boy will not stop on the path to his dream of becoming rich. And then she starts laughing at him, saying that most likely the girls just start crying after he starts playing cards with them. But the guy doesn't care at all about these words. He owed her money, and she now owes him a game of Monopoly. Of course, he persuades her to invest money in his business, because he urgently needed to somehow return everything that he had already lost. But the girl is no longer going to believe in his words. Now the main character is trying to regain trust with the help of playing cards and his friend, but the blonde says that she has completely lost all trust in him. Damn it, it turns out she likes playing poker, and her confidence in the boy gradually began to return. In such cases, he asked to trust him again and invest in his business. Then Ara simply told him to shut up and concentrate on playing cards, and the main character only agreed to play this damn poker, so now she will face a crushing defeat. The poker game was simply incredible, but at one point something strange happened and they were asked to play the game even louder. At this moment, The face of the main character completely changes because he did not expect that someone would manage to come here. It turns out this is a beautiful girl with black hair who was simply shocked by the main character. Why the hell did he bring the girl here and calmly play poker with her? At that moment, the boy realized that his life would be over forever because this was apparently his girlfriend, and Ara still did not understand what was happening and why he stopped the poker game. He tried to explain everything to her and said that she simply misunderstood everything. But only these words began to anger her even more. It would be better if he did not say this. It would be better for the main character to hide his deck of cards now, because she is now terribly evil and can send him to the next world. The boy tried to explain that it was all related to his business, and at that moment, Ara decided to pay attention to the man who came. He was going to say that he wanted to reach an agreement with the client using the game of poker, but the bag flew right into his nose and they did not allow him to negotiate. The situation, of course, was simply terrible. While his wife was constantly working and trying to earn money, he was sitting here and minding his incomprehensible business. Saitama's strongest blow instantly hits the main character's face, all because he was playing poker with some girl. Of course, his wife was not happy about this. But Ari, it seems, decided to leave the playing field while the main character tried to justify himself by saying that he had absolutely no idea what hit him. She is trying to get away from here as quickly as possible. While that married couple was simply arguing, the wife could not believe that her loved one managed to do such a terrible thing to her. How could he even create such a horror? At that moment, the lady swore an oath that she would first send him to the next world and then go after him. And then the frame changes sharply, and we are already shown how a girl plays poker against her opponent. What the hell? Can't play poker again because the guy had health problems, and why isn't he taking his medications? The boy himself was also in shock because he had taken all his medications, even 2 tablets. But then the lady had a very logical question: why the hell they didn't work? The boy simply asked the girl for forgiveness because he was clearly not in the best shape today. Most likely they simply won't be able to play poker today. And the girl was worried only because their poker game had not been going well for more than 6 months. She could no longer live like this. She told him to stay put and decided to apply some kind of treatment. The boy at first did not understand what the hell she was doing, and the girl told him to sit still and not move. She promised that she would try to do everything possible just so that they could play damn poker. But in response, the boy simply said that she was abnormal and generally crazy because he had health problems that could not be easily cured. He asked her to stop trying because it was all completely pointless. He didn't think they would have a poker game today, but the lady still wasn't going to stop trying. Although now our main character was simply in shock because it seemed that he had begun to heal, she said that her method would help. Now she gave him advice on how to do better. He was just sitting and thinking about the fact that his younger brother named Tenji was having an extremely difficult time with his wife. He was just going to quickly leave here because he heard some strange sounds and asked to wait for the girl. But she just thought that he was going to run away from her without even trying to play poker at least once. It's just that for this guy, the main character was like a younger brother who constantly needs to be taken care of, but the girl didn't like the fact that he was leaving so quickly. Who would take care of her then? The guy's name is Kim Hyun-soo, and now the girl is talking to him in all seriousness because she is not going to wait forever for the moment when they can play poker. Well, if suddenly a girl is not satisfied with something, then she can offer a solution herself because he cannot play poker because he had health problems and he himself did not like it. The lady just hit herself over the head and began to think that at this rate she would simply go crazy with these idiots. And here is the main character who is being beaten with a stick right now. Are they really so similar to that guy? The girl said that he was running as if from a pack of dogs. Let him come and fight like a real man. From his words, she constantly heard only flattery and lies, so now the boy will pay for everything he did. It seems that his wife really decided to send him to the next world. He still tried to find an excuse because they hadn't even started that damn poker game, but his wife was not at all interested in listening to all his nonsense. She was not going to live like this anymore. At that moment, she makes the decisive blow and told him to get the hell out of here, but then there was a clap of thunder, and at that very second, someone grabbed the bat. Damn, who drew this? The guy just grabbed the bat and started yelling something loudly as if he were some kind of superhero. Although most likely he is screaming in terrible pain, because not every person can endure such a blow. And in the next frame, the boy was already jumping from his house and flying straight down. His damn rescuer was standing below, and still noticed how the main character took a heroic leap of faith. Realizing that right now his younger brother is just going to turn into a damn pancake, he understands that something needs to be done. After a long cry from the main character for help, the action moves to the hospital where the guy was already sleeping peacefully in bed. Of course, he didn't look very good, but this time at least he remained alive. At least that makes me happy. He didn't even really understand where he was right now. The boy only understood that his head hurt, as if he had come after a cool party where he drank a lot of drinks. Suddenly, the realization comes to him that something strange was happening here, as if he was completely out of his mind. And then he notices something to the left. It turns out that it is his own body that lies next to him, but why the hell does he see himself from the outside, especially in such a bad shape? He carefully began to examine his hands and tried to understand if his body was lying here right now, then who the hell was he? Having gone to the restroom, the guy was simply in shock because he gradually began to understand that an exchange of souls had taken place. It seemed to him as if last night he met his brother-in-law's wife, and then he remembers nothing except a bright light. Did he really manage to switch bodies with his brother-in-law? But this is a facial expression that is in complete shock. The guy even began to think that he was in the plot of some kind of manhwa, but only we know the real truth. He begins to have a greenhouse, and the main character tries to deny everything that is happening now, saying that this simply cannot be. In a panic, he quickly runs out of the restroom, and then a couple more problems appear. Namely, the whole family and wife were right now standing right in front of him and talking to the doctor about how to explain to them what had just happened. She instantly appears in front of him and begins to hug him because she was worried about her husband. He called her his brother-in-law's wife and asked her to wait for a while, but the girl did not understand at all what was happening. She just starts screaming that the guy's name is Hyunsu, and she was his wife, but it seems now he'll tell her a story that she definitely won't believe. He gradually tries to start his incredible story, but he simply doesn't succeed. And then the boy thinks in his head that no one will simply believe this nonsense. The doctor said that he was extremely glad that the life of this guy was no longer in danger, but whatever one may say, the life of the main character was still hanging by a thread from death. Of course, his wife was worried and didn't know what to do now, but even the doctor told her that this was the first time he had encountered this. He thought that it would be better to transfer him to a department where they would look at him much more carefully, and then there might be hope for change. It seems the girl was just sad, but of course she was going to beat him very badly, but she didn't want it to come to that because she loves her husband. But this guy is now much worse than any of them, because he just woke up as a completely different person and can't even talk about it. Next, we are shown how he sleeps peacefully in his bed. But somehow the devil dared to disturb his sleep, and who dared to do such a thing? Everything turns out to be much simpler because it was his wife who once again decided that now was the best time to play poker. While the boy was sitting simply in horror because he understood perfectly well that this was not his wife, the girl asked him to be quiet, because someone might hear the poker game. Of course, he was scared and couldn't understand what the hell this lady was doing, because he was already feeling terribly bad right now. But she was much more terrified because it was as if her husband had been replaced with another person, and in general, why the hell was he talking to her at all? Realizing that it was impossible to spoil his brother's relationship, he says that this is not what he meant, but that the girl asked him to prepare for a poker game. Although everything turns out to be a little different there, because the girl just wanted to take care of him, because it would be simply terrible if he spent several days in the hospital like that. The wife asked her husband to just rest quietly, and she would do the rest herself, but the main character didn't think that was a good idea. Why the hell did her husband change so much because she didn't do anything bad to him, but all he did was still ask her to stop? While this incredible war was going on, the girl wanted to say that she didn't care at all about the fact that he wasn't always able to play poker, although at that moment all her doubts disappeared. What the hell did she think because this guy has become a real master of playing cards? She just looked at her husband and tried to understand how all this happened, but the main character sits and does not understand anything at all. The girl was ready to go crazy with joy because she didn't know when her husband learned to play poker so cool. The boy was just shouting at her to stop because he didn't want to play poker, especially with his brother's wife, but there was no end to her surprise. He couldn't play poker even after she used special techniques to treat, and now his illness as if it never happened. What a joy. But still the wife cannot understand what could have changed after just one day in the hospital. But now the boy began to think that he and his brother had exchanged not only their souls, but also all their abilities, and his ability to play poker was clearly much better. To change the situation a little, the main character says that of course they could play cards, but it seems to him that the hospital is absolutely not the right place for this. But in response, the girl simply said that he shouldn't worry about this at all because the doctor had long gone to his brother's room. Now they would definitely be able to play poker normally. Still, the girl wanted to celebrate such an incredible event because her husband had finally gotten rid of his illness, but he had completely different plans because the doctor was already in his brother's room. Damn it, this girl really still can't believe that her husband has become such a really cool guy. It's just a shock. Now he could actually play poker with her and not worry at all that something might not go according to plan. It's just some kind of miracle. And although there was absolutely nothing to judge the main character for, he began to rejoice that he was playing poker with his brother's wife. But he still had a conscience, so he asked him to stop playing cards with him. If suddenly they continue to play cards, then he will simply have to beat her. But it seems that this is exactly what the lady wanted. Damn it! When will all this stop? That's exactly what the main character said in his thoughts. Realizing that it was wrong to play poker with his brother's fiancée, it was necessary to stop all this immediately. But she had been waiting for so long for that very moment when she could play cards normally with her husband that she did not understand why he was stopping her. Be that as it may, the girl, of course, will not understand the fact that she is not playing cards with her husband, but only when her brother wakes up will some questions arise. Damn it, this girl's poker skills were simply incredible. He promised that if she could beat him in this round, but in the next he would definitely not give her mercy. Still, such horror is rarely experienced. It's almost impossible to find yourself in such a situation. But my brother's fiancée had absolutely no intention of stopping the game of poker. Still, she did not understand the reason why he refused to play cards because tomorrow they could both go to the next world and such an opportunity simply would not arise again. She had already suffered enough all these years because he was sick, but now realizing that at any moment they could end up in the hospital and go to the next world, the girl is no longer going to put off until tomorrow what can be done right now. The boy made a very careless move and immediately asked for forgiveness because he didn't want to do something like that. All the same, the boy says that he is not her fiancé, and in general he is his brother. But the girl seems completely indifferent to all this. In any case, she was going to play cards with the person who is sitting next to her. In her opinion, it was simply incredible to play poker in a hospital room. In the opinion of the main character, this girl was simply crazy. He simply had no other option. And since they have never played cards before, now she's wondering what it's like to play poker in a hospital. It seems that the girl watched the anime Crazy Excitement and was now copying the behavior of the character from this anime. And then the boy begins to understand that it was too difficult for him to play against this girl. Apparently it was difficult for him because his brother did not show her how to play poker correctly. While the main character was thinking about the fact that he couldn't play at full strength against this girl, a nurse suddenly came and said that she had to urgently give the patient an injection. But of course, she was simply in shock after realizing that these two were playing poker right now, and more importantly, what should she do now in such a situation? The wife apparently decided to laugh it off and said that right now she was also carrying out an important medical procedure. It seems that poker is not as important as the patient's health. But, oh well. The boy just started to get ready to quickly escape from this abnormal thing. His wife didn't like the fact that he was leaving so quickly. Didn't he want to finish the poker game? But the main character said that his head hurt too much to play board games now. He thought that checking his fortune was much better than playing poker, so he left. Still, despite this, he tries to quickly understand what is happening with his brother's wife, but she only says that she does not believe his words. She made a very scary expression on her face, and only said that she would have to wait until tomorrow to make sure that he was telling the truth. After which the boy decides that it's time to talk a little about his past. Hyunsu was his older half-brother with whom he grew up together in Handong province. He was born an incredibly happy and lucky guy, so he shared his home with him because he was very rich and always took care of him as if he were his own brother. He and his wife could not afford the luxury of living separately, so his brother, as a noble man, allowed them to live with them. He always had everything, huge office buildings that reached to the sky, a beautiful wife and a lot of money, and therefore our boy always envied him. And now the main character simply cannot believe the fact that he just exchanged souls with him because he doesn't know what to do with all this. He had absolutely no choice. Now the boy will just have to pretend until Hyun herself finds out about everything. And now they finally returned home, and his wife asked if he would mind if she left him alone. It seemed that it didn't matter to him because at home it was much calmer than in the hospital. She was going to return soon, so let her husband rest for now and not sit down to work. Of course he agrees. When suddenly the lady decided to remind him about that poker game that they didn't play yesterday. But the boy doesn't know at all what to do in such a situation because the girl was clearly looking at him as if she still wanted to finish that game of cards. No matter how strange it may be, the boy already begins to panic immediately after he thinks that his wife will return. But still, strange things did not stop haunting him, because now he lived on the first floor of this house instead of his brother. All the same, now he was just sitting on the couch in complete despair and trying to understand what would happen if he did play poker with his brother's wife. Most likely he will have to take a sabbatical leave in order to feed the whole family without the help of his older brother. What the hell should he do now? From his own weakness, he simply falls on the sofa and thinks that at this rate he will simply go crazy. When suddenly some strange blonde appears and is looking for her older brother, she is worried because she was told that he was in the hospital. The girl named Era, who was at the beginning, is the most unexpected thing that the main character could expect. What the hell is she doing here and looking for his brother? He directly asked why the hell she came here, but the blonde doesn't understand what could be strange here because she was just worried about her appa. The girl pretends to be very sad and constantly asks if everything is okay with him. She simply asked if the boy even understood that she was constantly thinking about him. But the main character all this time thought that the girl had changed noticeably since their last meeting. The boy simply said that everything was completely normal with him, but in his head he still wondered why the hell she even came to his older brother. Here she already begins to talk about the main character who was still in a coma. By the way, she was also very worried about him. Be that as it may, she considered him an abnormal person who calmly lost all the money he had. Although it seemed to her that they were quite close friends, now the boy doesn't even know what to answer her. After the brother suggested that they could be friends, the girl simply became furious and said that just the mention of his name made her grind her teeth in her sleep, which sounded very cool by the way. The girl simply asked why the hell he is so devoted to his brother, but the main character answered so, all because he is like a younger brother to him and he will be devoted to him to the last. The lady didn't understand at all why the hell she was even saying something like that. What kind of devotion could there be for a person who lives quietly in someone else's house while his wife constantly works and tries to earn money? She also begins to remind us of how he constantly harms girls because he is terribly irresponsible. She just wanted to warn her appa because he still doesn't realize how insidious he is, but the main character hears everything perfectly and cannot believe what she says. The lady decided to continue saying that he couldn't even imagine how terrible a person he was. When he had free time, he constantly came to her work and played poker with her as if it was normal. After Ara began to talk about those terrible nicknames that he was awarded, the boy simply fell to the floor. He didn't understand why she was telling all this. Maybe this lady was just spreading rumors about him, but the lady only said that she was telling this to people like his older brother, but the boy understood perfectly well what was happening. The girl came here to play poker with him older brother. When suddenly Madame begins to behave strangely and decides to ask him for a favor, the boy gets scared and asks what she wants. It turns out that the lady just wanted to talk to him about this month. While she is talking about how business has been going too badly lately, our boy has already fully understood the situation. Now he is completely sure why she came here. What the hell is this idiot doing? He says that he cannot believe that a girl is so worried about a couple of cents because for him, it was a mere trifle. Damn it, her plan still worked. She came here from the very beginning to ask him for money. The guy gradually begins to panic, and he says that for some time he is not going to take payment from her. Let him just continue to develop his business. The lady pretended to be surprised by the fact that he agreed, but he's a cool guy here who owns an entire shopping center. In this case, the girl thought that she was also not going to remain in debt, so she invited him to play poker. There was just one problem. Others often told her that the guy had terrible health problems due to which he could not play poker normally. And now she asks what they are going to do in this case. The boy tried to stop the girl from playing poker, but she was clearly going to play this poker game and do it in the best possible way. And then something strange happens because he doesn't have any health problems at all, as we remember that incident in the hospital. After the exchange of souls, his brother was cured. To say that the lady was simply in shock is to say nothing at all, because she was told about his terrible health, but at the same time he plays poker like a real master. She even thought that Appa had undergone special treatment in the hospital, and all in order to play poker with her. According to the girl, all the rumors that were spoken about him were completely lies, and then she decides to quickly start their poker competition. She clearly did not expect that she would meet a real master here, and decides to give him a gift. Now the lady is clearly not going to give in, and decides to play as seriously as she has never played poker before. She warned the main character that he would not be able to find such a tough opponent, even in all of Korea, because she was fully trained to play this game herself, so now she will simply try to defeat her. And the main character now became the happiest person in the world, because Ara turned out to be the best player he had ever met. The combinations she made were simply incredible. Ara herself was glad that she had found such a cool guy, because he had never played poker with such cool players. But suddenly she said that it was strange because he was the first person with whom she played cards after she divorced her husband. Of course, our main character knows everything perfectly well and knows very well that after the divorce she played poker with many more people. And this ends the video for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel and like so that the new part comes out soon.